Tell me about David Poole.
He was supposedly born on the 14th of September 2000. If alive now, he'd be a schoolboy at Aaron Wright's son's grammar school, private school, going from strength to strength. His father, an army officer, retired army officer, Derek Poole, is married to an army officer's daughter. His father had been stationed in Germany, and through his mother's line he has German blood, through his grandmother, and he's exceedingly fluent, not only in German but other languages. He's moved from a totally happy environment at an army school in Germany when his father leaves the army to live in this fictional Abbott's Hythe, fictional town, and sent to a Roman Catholic high school in Seaford, where he meets a Swiss lad, or was it a lad from Alsace, and they become bosom friends because they fluent in German. And this chap from Alsace, and another fellow from Switzerland. Three boys with who are native German speakers. And then they had to submit to Roman Catholicism, and they meet two convent girls from another Catholic school in Seaford. Jonathan, remember? There was one, and they conspire to be wicked. They slosh horse manure around the chapels on a Shrove Tuesday, and are caught in flagrante delicto. So all five are expelled on the spot, and David Poole is in the same state of disgrace as I was after the sexual pranks at Lewis Grammar School in 1953. So the opening story has the wicked title, a vagina, a uterus, and a rectum. So,
sorry, may I ask, is satire an important part of your writing? Are you satirising the world at points?
Fact right.
Yes.
Well, I try to integrate my story threads into a coherent whole, but I made a few others. One is to do with a fictional town, which I had to expunge because it can't be in two places at once. One story thread where Alan Wright is expelled from school resembling Lewis Grammar, but it's White Seaton, a gap town like Lewis and Arundel in the South Downs. And another story thread, it seemed to be co-located with Rye or Winchelsea, White Seaton. Now, I asked Jonathan to expunge all references to White Seaton and put in distinctly Saxon place names like Elfgar, Borough, Aelfgar. That is obviously Saxon, isn't it?
And your decision to change the names to Saxon, what was your inspiration to do that then?
Well, it was just to eradicate the glaring howler. Now, the main story thread is how Alan Wright is so precociously intellectual and collides with his parents and sister on every encounter, and he meets up with a fellow with obviously rather like me, David Derriford, shares my birthday, supposedly born on the same a place called Brannockstone, nice name that, in Dunkershire, which could be co-located with Kirkcudbright.
So as you're writing, you're going through all these geographical places.
Yeah.
Are these places that you have visited yourself?
Many, but not necessarily all. So I can readily draw a street map of an imaginary place, link it to the railway system, and populate it with nice people and villains. So if the need arises, where I feared lawsuits, and I'll go into that later, about a real Alan Wright who threatened to sue me, I take pains to create villains whose names are places. Now, for example, Sir Flanders Moss, which is of course a nature reserve in Stirlingshire, and Sir that double barrel plate on the railway line. Sir, what was the name gone out of my mind now? 2 stops beyond Tiverton town, a village. Oh, on Old London South Western and indeed Great Western were many double barrel place names because of the 1848 Place Names Act that required every station to have a unique name, because calamity would follow calamity if mail was sent to the one when it ought to go to the other. Bramford Speak! Bramford Speak. Bramford Now, is a village, but the villagers would be splitting their sides if I describe an out-and-out villain. The high road to Becclesstowe cuts across Becclesstowe town, where stands a wartime watchtower. This is where Alan goes to escape his family. It's quiet there, and the opening action describes in lyrical detail what Alan sees from the watchtower. The storm racked sea, the evidence of military action. No, in actual fact, Saint-Valery-en-Caux is got in Normandy. I moved it across the channel and renamed it Advertise. In the story, what couldn't happen is that German warships retaliated to shell Advertise after the Dieppe raid. Well, the hole in Normandy might be filled with the terrain around Easting, you remember, Jonathan, with steep valley? So if you swapped Easting and Friston, you know, the valley, so what was the name of that place? Is it Burling Gap? Burling Gap. Well, that swapped around to end up in Normandy with the appropriate French name, but it's not mentioned in the stories read.
Are there writers that you have taken inspiration from in doing your own writing?
Well, Franz Kafka, that illustrious Austrian Jew, remember he was an Austrian Jew, never ever a Czech. Though his surname is Czech or Jackdaw, call him Frank Jackdaw in Czech. Lived most of his life in Prague, but he did move elsewhere. He contracted TB. He was an insurance clerk, and his father was a tycoon and an inveterate bully who put him down repeatedly, as my father did to me. He had Asperger's syndrome, floridly, very floridly. His legacy to mankind are as the fruits of his mental torment. Torment it was, and he is posthumously famous because of his three works: Metamorphosis, The Trial, and The Castle. He predicted the Nazi occupation of Czechoslovakia. In the action in The Trial, was it? Yeah, in The Trial, where a fellow, obviously himself, is suddenly arrested without any reason and undergoes Nazi-type brutality without knowing why. That's the substance of the plot. Other people, other works I've read, Arthur C. Clarke, the Rama trilogy, about huge cylinders whose total area is probably bigger than that of Yorkshire, spinning slowly, habitat satellites built by extraterrestrials. And now one or more of these appears in Earth orbit. These are technically feasible and I regard desirable. The narrative three, the Dharma trilogy, describes what happens. I won't spoil the plot because I've most forgotten it. But the idea of Rama structures goes into several of my stories, including a dialogue between David Poole and a younger fellow of similar origins. Poole is by then a space scientist working for the Darmstadt European Space Agency, and he's met a young man in rather desperate plight, and they're on a train journey. At the end of the line is a young lady. So Poole is trying to calm down the young fellow who's had a row with his parents about his ambitions to become a space scientist. It all ends with hugs and kisses, a place which is this place. In reality, they're going to alight at this place, and on the platform is a young lady.
So tell me more about this place that you've built. So
Now,
this is a section, just a section of lots of real landscapes with model trains that you've built, yes?
Now, around Britain, there were at least a dozen private railway stations built with landowners' money for the exclusive use of the landowner and his staff. Widely scattered, by sheer luck, I think 7 survived as unstaffed halts. Most were bare platforms with rudimentary shelters. One survivor is Duncraig, where there is an octagonal pavilion, grade 1 listed. It serves as a waiting shelter, and after the railway reforms, these are request halls. Do I need to rattle off the names? The Dukes, many landowners vehemently opposed railways. Now, in my fiction, there is a railway line which was planned but never built, called the Glasgow North Western, which would have followed the route of the West Highland Way and beyond up the Great Glen to strike into the mountains, and the real line would have gone all the way to Uig in Skye, and the track width was not 4.5 but narrower, 3'6", or 1 metre, because at that time there was a futile attempt to introduce a metric system in Britain, and the British ruled Indian government jumped the gun, and one of the outcomes was a web of railways on the meter gauge that's still running. This engine represents a type of about hundreds were built of this design, a general purpose engine that ran all over the Indian Empire, and that also meant identical ones that ran in East Africa and Burma. Its shape lends itself to fitting over the chassis, which you saw it move, stagger along. So, on that railway network, which goes into fictional territory, called straw dart, we've got moidart and knoidart. So, straw dart, you see. Drastically altering the coastline of Scotland in my parallel world, instead of the sort of inland sea called the Sound of Raasay, with Raasay Island smack in the middle between Skye and the mainland, there is the Sound of Stordart with rocky islands, and on its shores a city called Seagrave. Now that's a beautiful Viking name. Be kind to our neighbours, to uphold the law as long as it's, but exceptions when it's the law of tyrants. But the common law is universal, duty to uphold the common law.
Yes, was it not St. Augustine who said,
What?
An unjust law is no law at all?
Exactly.
Right.
So, broadly speaking, to give rise to a universally valid code of behaviour that cultivates the presence of God and the good in people, two sides of the same coin. Now, this contrasts with our Gadarene society. Remember Christ and the Gadarene swine. Gadara is a Roman city adjoining, too close to the Syrian border to be visited anymore. A Grade 1 listed Roman city, and I would like to have gone there to enjoy it, but it's too close to the Syrian border. But Gadara is where, in actual fact, there's archaeological proof about, let's be honest, skeletons. And one skull was examined, and it showed signs that the man had a mental illness, bumps and mouldy, whatever. Well, archaeologists, forensic scientists have deduced that the parable of the Gadarene swine is based upon an actual event. One man who had florid schizophrenia or whatever, and Christ would have come along and riven the devil, or ministered to him, as he said. So the man was cured, and the swine, the pigs, got the schizophrenia and went straight over a cliff. That, I think, is the substance of the... Is that the correct, the Gadarene swine that went over a cliff? And children's books about the Bible show an illustration of mad pigs throwing themselves off a cliff that actually exists near Gadara, overlooking what we call the Sea of Galilee. I can't remember the exact details, but Gadarene refers to the insane behaviour of our present crumbling society, where people are obsessed with transient gratification, lowly gratification.
Becoming characters in this narrative, you seem to...
So do carry on questioning me. I'm enjoying this adoption. Now, on the Southern Railway, there were extraordinary entries on which quite a number still running, but not totally unlike conventional engines. They were built by an eccentric engineer called Oliver Bulleid, who eventually got the sack because his railway engines were too radical. But these were success, an outstanding success. They had a funny shape, and they were named after places in the west of the country. One of them is the Bronze, 34006, I think it is. Jonathan knows about because he's written about it. He's in running order. Another one was the 34019, the Bideford, with coat of arms of Bideford, proudly emblazoned below the nameplate. My first ever railway journey would have been from Bideford, from Braunton, my birthplace town, in a carry cot to Parksville Junction behind a brand spanking new West Country Part engine because I'm too young. But my earliest memory of a train is one of these, and I could read at 3 and spelling out the name of a place. I asked my father, where is this place?